Hey, we're back. I hope you guys have been well. It has been forever since I sat down to film. It is currently June 29th today. I think the last time I filmed was like the beginning of May, maybe even the end of April. So sit down, grab a snack because we have a lot of things to talk about. This is going to be my update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and we're going to talk about some different things that have been going on and kind of like the changes that I have in mind for this project. And yeah, so it's probably going to be a longer video, just letting you know. So first off, where have I been? At the end of May, from like the end of May to like mid-June, I first got a really bad sinus infection. I lost my voice, like I was really dizzy. I think there was maybe like an ear infection involved too. So I went to the doctor for that, got antibiotics. That kind of cleared up, and then I had this cough that would just never leave. And I kept pushing it off like, it's okay. It's just, it's just a cough. It's allergies. It's, this time of year is really hard for me. Well, finally went back to the doctor, and it turns out I had pneumonia and bronchitis. So I just like laid low for this past, I think it's been like a month since I last uploaded. I just laid low. So prior to getting sick, or I guess right when I started to get sick, I had sat down and filmed the update. I guess it's update 3. Yeah. Update 2. Because this would be update 3. Whatever. I sat down and filmed my update for the Pan Those Eyeshadows. But first of all, you could tell like I was getting sick. Like I was losing my voice. I was coughing and sneezing and just trying to edit all that out. It just wasn't like very successful. But 2, you could just tell my attitude was very poor with this project. So I've been frustrated with it. And I've seen other people be frustrated with this project. So I don't feel, I guess, bad. Like, it seems like it's pretty common. The reason I was frustrated was I felt very limited with these 6 shades. Like, when I first went into this project, in my head, I thought, like, okay, you're going to get, your 6 random eyeshadows, and you're going to have them, and it's going to make you use the palette as a whole more. And it's a good way to like rotate through your collection, things like that. But that's really not what happened for me. I focused heavily in on those 6 shades, and I would get frustrated because, I couldn't use all 6 to like make a look, or, I didn't, I had like 2 reds at one time, things like that. And I felt very limited. I started to hate the project. I wasn't happy with it. And I guess I'm kind of glad I got sick, because it gave me the opportunity to like take that time off and step away and really think about this project and what I was doing. So while I've been gone, I was still working on my 6 shadows. Sorry, I have a hair. Okay. So while I was gone, or absent for the month, I was still working on my 6 shadows, and I will show you like the progress and everything, and then we'll kind of talk about like where I want to go with this further, because I want this to be successful. And I do like that you can open up a palette in my collection and see like, oh, that one shade has been loved. So I have some ideas, some thoughts, and how I want to proceed with this. But first, let's get into, I guess, the update. So let's see, I have here on my paper where the round 2 shades should have been filmed, I guess, at the end of April. So I had the shade Peel from my Makeup Revolution Chocolate Orange palette. I had Busted from the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe collaboration, the Dark Magic palette. We had Ember from the Profusion Temptress palette. We had Latest Scoop from the Balm Iced Tea. We had Raw Sienna from Modern Renaissance, and then Theresa Cloud for my Colourpop shadow. So within those 6 shades, I did hit pan on Theresa Cloud from Colourpop. So I'll show that to you. Here it is. And these are so easy to hit pan on is what I've decided, because this was like basically brand new, and I feel like I focused in on it, like wore it hardcore for like 2 weeks and hit the pan on it. So there's that. So then in its place, let me just kind of do this like that. So that obviously got rolled out, and then in its place, when I was filming in that video that I'm not going to upload it, it's just, it was a bad video. But I selected the shade Bow Wow from my Colourpop collection, and I can't get it open, but it's, I really can't get it open. It was a shade that they did in collaboration with the No Kill LA shelter. I think it was last year, so it's discontinued shade, like you can't get it anymore. And I really can't get it open. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it's this like peachy shade, and I hit pan on that. So there's that. And I don't know if I actually really like this shade. I used it kind of as a topper, but it was very like crumbly. Like you would put it on your finger and go to apply it on your lid, and it would just kind of like, there was a lot of fallout with it, and it was very crumbly. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that shade. It's here to stay for right now, but I don't know. So those are the two Colourpop shades. And then for Modern Renaissance, the Raw Sienna, you can see here I did hit pan on that right there. And so then in its place, I rolled in I rolled in Prince from the BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette, and I did not get a lot of use. Oops. I did not get a ton of use on this shade. It's like this just matte warm brown shade, and I think that was part of it. Was I was just frustrated because it's like, I know Raw Sienna isn't like as warm as this color, but it is just a matte brown shade, and so I was just frustrated, like, ugh, I'm not getting like a bunch of diverse shades here. And then too, like, I will watch other people, and it's just like they seem to get so lucky like their palettes or their 6 or 5 or however many they're randomizing, just their shades are so cohesive, and they make like such this pretty color story, and it's like I wasn't having that, so I was so like envious and jealous and just, you know, I think that's part of it. But anyway, back to it. So those are kind of the two updates rolled into one, if that makes sense. So Raw Sienna and Three's a Cloud were what I hit pan on for that missing update, and then I rolled in Prince and Bow Wow. And so as you can see, like I did hit pan on Bow Wow, nothing on Prince. So then all of these are like shades that have been in for at least, well, these two have been in since the beginning. So here is Busted from the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe Dark Magic palette, and I don't know, I will try to find pictures to like insert to show you, but I don't know if I still have them. I don't know if they got deleted off my computer or what, so if I don't have them, I apologize. But here's what it looks like now. So you can see pan in it, and I thought with this shade I was very hesitant from the beginning. This was rolled in like very first update, which I started in March. It's very hesitant with it, and I kept going and I kept trying like different ways to wear this, and it's such a dark color, and you know, it was during springtime and the beginning of summer, so it wasn't really like a shade that I was like wanting to wear, first of all. But I kept going with it, and obviously like I hit pan, I hit my goal, and I kept telling myself like, you're gonna feel so accomplished though, like when you hit this. And I hit pan on it, and I really didn't feel accomplished from it. Like, I kind of care less. And I just think it was because I just was so unhappy with just the shade in general and kind of everything I've mentioned already. So there's that. And then the other shade that's been in since the beginning, it kind of has the same story. Like, I really like this palette from Makeup Revolution, but I think it will be a pretty fall time palette. And so having pulled it, you know, at the beginning and playing with this in the spring, and especially because the shade Peel is like just a very brick red kind of matte color, so it doesn't it just wasn't one that I wanted to gravitate towards. But as you can see there, I do have pan in it, so there's that. But you see, that's what I'm also talking to, is like, you see how that one shade has pan in it, but then the rest of the palette is like virtually untouched. Like, I did use a few shades, like when I would do looks with this, but overall, like, you know, I would just be focusing in on that one shade. So and then one of the other ones I had was from The Balm. It was the latest scoop. So this one is just like this kind of taupey, maybe not taupey, but it is like a gray shade. And so sometimes I will use these grayer kind of eyeshadows in my brows. It's just, I like that. I'll either use that or like a dark kind of brown. So that's why you can see the pan in it, and you can see that it's like a very concentrated pan because I was using like an angled brush. Like I just specifically used this shade to fill in my brows. It just wasn't one that I liked. I tried using it like in the very outer corner to like make like a smoky eye, but I don't know. I feel like my eyes are two very different shapes that I could never get it to look right and to make my eyes look good together, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of scattered and like all over the place. This is the first time I've sat down to film in a long time, so there's that. But then the last shade I was working on was from the Profusion Temptress palette, which I think was like their holiday release for 2018. So I don't think you can get this palette anymore, but it was the shade Ember, which again was just like this brick red kind of color, similar to Peel from the Makeup Revolution. So I honestly haven't even touched it. It's this shade right here. I never even touched it because it was so similar to the Makeup Revolution shade that I was like, well, I'll focus on one and then I'll have this, you know. And I take that back. I did use this maybe once or twice to get a feel for it. But the palette as a whole, I'm not really super happy with. I just don't get very inspired by this. So this palette is kind of like on the chopping block for me. And when I look at it, to be quite honest, the whole reason I got it was for this shade right here, Geode, which is this very pretty like icy blue shimmer shade. And I absolutely love that shade. But I don't want to keep a palette just for one shade. So I might actually just declutter this palette. I don't know. I've seen other people do like a series on their channel where it's like palettes that are on the chopping block. And I love watching those, and I think that's a really neat idea. So I might just kind of tuck this guy away until I maybe find like one or two other palettes that I'm unsure of keeping, and then maybe try to do something like that. I don't know, but for right now, he is not leaving my collection, but he's not in my collection, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. So those were all the eyeshadows that we had been working on. So that leaves us with, what are we going to do now? So while I was sick, I binge watched a lot of YouTube because what else are you gonna do? And I watched so many pan that palette like series, like people going from like start to finish, like Amber F. I watched her pan her Too Faced chocolate bar palette. Amazing. Elizabeth, what is her last name? It starts with a C. I'm sure you guys know who she is, but she did the Too Faced palette too. I believe both of them did it in like 2018 or something like that. I binge watched Victoria Joyce panning her Lorac Pro palette, which has been amazing. She's on like she's been doing it for over a year. She's on like month 17 or something. Let's see, Monica from, is it Map Beauty? She's doing Subculture this year. Anyway, you get the point. I binge watched a ton of people panning a palette, and it really got me to thinking that, you know, I do want to pan a palette, and I think that's the right step to take this project in, but there's going to be a spin on it. So hear me out. I've picked a palette that I want to pan, and I think that this palette has a good variety of shades in it to where I'm not going to get bored or feel limited, because that was one of the main issues with this rolling project pan eyeshadow thing, is I was getting bored. So I have this palette that I want to focus on, and I'm not going to set myself a time limit of a year. Like, I'm not trying to like absolutely have it panned in a year. I want to see where I can get it in a year, and then we'll reassess. Like, so we're going to start this in July 2019. So July 2020, we're going to look at this palette and see like how far we've come with it. and see if we want to continue, like see it to the end. You know, maybe it takes us longer than a year to do this. So there's that. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, that sounds great and all, but I really want to make sure that the rest of my collection is still getting loved. So how do I do that while panning a palette? So the compromise that I have thought of is I am going to do the pan that palette, and I am going to still randomly select 3 eyeshadows from my collection to be like complementary shades. And you might think like, well, that's silly because you've got like this fresh new palette, you shouldn't need to pull from anything else. And yeah, that's true, but by randomly selecting the 3, like I'm still touching other palettes in my collection. So that to me is what makes the most sense, and that's kind of where I want to take this project. So it's going to be a pan that palette with 3 random eyeshadows from my collection, and I haven't decided yet if I want to actually hit pan in the 3 random shades or just use them for the month and then roll in something new, because that's kind of like Sarah Rose, I think. Is that her name? I'm gonna be embarrassed if that's not her name. But she is doing this, she's doing like this Roulette eyeshadow project, but she doesn't call hers a project pan because she just randomly selects them for the month and then rolls them out, irregardless if she has pan on them or not. So I don't know if that's the approach I want to take. So we'll kind of see. Next update. So this is, you know, we're going to start this in July. Like I said, it's June 29th. So we're going to start this in July. So the updates will come near like the beginning of the month. Like this video, I'm going to try to get it uploaded by July 1st. So then you could expect the update 1 like by August 1st or somewhere around in there. That's kind of like my plan. So with the next update video, we'll kind of talk about it and see where we're at and how we want to, if we need to tweak it even more. But so for right now, the rules are we're having a pan that palette, and we're going to randomly select 3 shades to be kind of like complementary with it. So without further ado, I think I should show you the palette. I'm also like looking around because I can't find my cell phone and I'll need that to randomly select shades. So we'll get to the palette first. I do want to say so previously my rules were, I have to always in my 6 shades have a Colourpop shadow. And I think that was good and everything, but I'm realizing how quickly I can like kind of power through those. So I went through my Colourpop collection and I picked out a shade that I absolutely love, and I want to try to finish this shade. So it's not one of the 3 like complementary shades. Like this will just be a shade I have on hand to help make sure I'm not getting bored with this palette. So it's the Colourpop shade Nillionaire. It's what I have on my lids today. I don't know if you can tell. I might edit that part out. But it is this gorgeous, just bronze glitter shade, and it's a staple in their collection. I think it's one of their best sellers. You probably own it if you own a Super Shock shadow. So that will be one that I hope to finish up, and I'm not like setting like a deadline on it. Like that's just the goal, is to use it up. And you can see like the teensiest of baby pan in there already. So this has gotten some good use, some good love, and it is one of my favorite, just, you know, it's a good like daily shade, I think. So anyway, without further ado, we are going to pan this palette, the Lorac Pro, the Mega Pro 4, I think is, yeah, it's the 4th. So there's a few reasons I picked this. This is not like the oldest palette in my collection or anything like that. I got this off of Nordstrom Rack. It is on sale there for about 30 I think after shipping and handling, it's like $30-ish US. So if you had your eye on this, you could go pick it up from Nordstrom Rack. I chose this, so I was under the impression that Lorac is cruelty-free. If you go to their website, they say they're cruelty-free. They don't test on animals. If you look at, I think it's Ethical Elephant, they're listed under cruelty-free. You know, so I picked this up, and then I also picked up the Mega Pro 1 because that was at Kohl's on sale. I think I got it for like 40 bucks. And to me, getting these palettes at that price was a steal of a deal. So I picked that one up as well. But I was talking, well, I wasn't actually talking. I was watching other people's videos and, excuse me, they said that Lorac isn't actually cruelty free because they're not like certified by PETA or anyone. They don't get like express written consent from their, I guess, ingredient suppliers that they're not testing on animals. So then it's kind of like a gray brand area, I guess. So I don't know. I still want to be like a cruelty free, like I want my makeup collection to be cruelty free, and I'm panning other things in order to you know, have like a cruelty free collection. So that was kind of one reason to pick it. Two, it's just a great palette. I think the color story is beautiful. It's like a bunch of great colors that you can use on like an everyday basis, and there's a lot of variety, so I don't think I'll get bored. So that was kind of like my thought process behind this. And I really like the Lorac formula. And I guess maybe this is kind of cheating a teensy bit, but I feel like their formula is similar to like the ABH formula in that it is more like a powdery formula. So you're gonna kind of get through shades quicker. I don't know, we'll see. But this is what my palette looks like starting out then. So, and I will give you a close-up of it, and then we can talk about some of the shades and some of the goals that we have. Sorry, I'm trying to like look and make sure that I'm giving you a good view. So you can see like a few of the shades do have dips in them. Like Peak Peony has a good dip in it. I don't know though, it's like a white shade, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It keeps wanting to focus on my face. This shade I use to set my eyeshadow primer. And then I've played around. I haven't touched every single shade in this palette. Like some of these more darker shades over here I figured would really get used like during the fall and winter. So I've been focusing more on like this lighter, lighter area over here. But I do absolutely love this green shade Moss. It's very pretty. And then the shade, let's see, Lotus, Fairy Tale, and Plum down here on the bottom. Let's see, no, Lotus, Fairy Tale, and then this one is Plum. Those are all really pretty shades. So yeah, I'm excited. This is my Pan That palette then. So I really don't want to set any goals for it because I just want to give myself the chance to get like more familiar with the palette and really figure out if every shade is going to stay, because I can tell you right off the bat, there is a black matte shadow, and then there's like this black shade that has glitter in it called Raven. Those two probably will not touch, probably won't. I just know. I'm saying I probably won't touch them, but I definitely know I won't pan them or use them up in an entirety. And then some of these other darker shades like Lagoon right here, or even above it is Dark Chocolate. I don't know if I will be able to pan those or, you know, use those in any way, because I'm not going to. That's one thing this Pan Those Eyeshadows taught me, is if I don't like the shade, then I'm not going to pan it. There's no point in that. I should, you know, get enjoyment out of it and really focus on the things that I like. So for the month of July, we are not going to set any concrete goals with this. We are just going to play around with it and kind of see what shades I gravitate towards, things like that. So yeah, that is that. I'm excited. So that and the Colourpop shade Nillionaire, and then I need to go grab my phone so that I can randomize 3 numbers and we can see what 3 shadows we will be working on. So let me go get that. My cell phone was right beside me, but I'm pretty sure you guys do that all the time too, so I don't feel bad. Anyway, so we are going to randomize 3 numbers. So I will pull up the pretty random app, but first I have to figure out how many shades of eyeshadows I have. Also, so you might be thinking to yourself like, wow, you're gonna have a lot of eyeshadow because you added in 2 Lorac Mega Pro palettes. I also bought the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. But I've also decluttered a few palettes that I just didn't show on camera, like the ABH Norvina palette. I got rid of that. I took out the Profusion Temptress palette. I took that one out. I took out all of the black shades from the spreadsheet. I also depotted most of them from the actual palettes too. So there's that. So I still only have 409 actual like pans of eyeshadow or Colourpop shadows, or you know, cream based products, however you want to phrase that. So yeah, 409. So oops, that's not what I want. Silly phone. Okay, pretty random. So we're gonna say 1 through 409. So it always pulls up the number 49, so that we're not counting that. So we'll hit this together. So 113 and 111. How random can this be? And 140. So I bet you 113 and 111 are from the same palette, which will be nice. That's not that many to have to focus on. So I am going to figure out what shades those correspond to, and I will be right back. So shade 140 comes from the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, and I'm really happy because I don't get a lot of use out of this, but it's the shade Riff. I'm getting all these like matte shades randomly. I don't know, like the universe just does not like me doing this project, but here's the shade Riff, and we can still swatch these shades. So I've gotten a little bit of use out of this. Where should we? Back of the hand? Back of the hand? Does that work for you guys? That's where we're going. Alright. So here is Riff. It's just a plain matte brown shade, so, you know. Maybe that'll be easy. I don't know. But yeah, that's there. And then the other two come from this palette. It's a Violet Voss with collaboration with Nicole Concilio. I don't support her. I don't subscribe to her. I don't particularly like her, but I wanted to try a Violet Voss palette, and I couldn't justify spending that amount of money on a eyeshadow palette where I had no idea of the formula or what to expect. So this palette actually went on sale on Nordstrom Rack, and so I got it. And I've played with it a handful of times, and from what I remember, I really did enjoy it. So the two shades I got were 111 and 113. Yeah. So it's Mars and Hangry. So Mars and Hangry. So a matte like red orange shade. Yeah. And then just like another, this is very similar to Riff. It's just lighter. This is like the perfect palette for like summer. Make that a little deeper. So let's see if I can do this correctly. Riff from the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, Mars from the Violet Voss, and then Hangry from the Violet Voss palette. So I think that's why I also get so mad at this random selection thing, because you guys probably see me randomly select these shades and you're like, it's always a matte warm toned color, and I probably do have a lot of those just in my collection in general, but I also have a lot of palettes that have different things in them, you know, like I have this Sweet Peach palette. I have, you know, the, what else? I have the Soft Glam palette, which isn't that, it's a neutral palette, but it doesn't have like a bunch of these like warm tones in it. Or you saw like the Lorac Mega Pro 3, which that one, the Mega Pro 4, excuse me, is not in the spreadsheet to randomly select from, but the Mega Pro 1 is. So yeah, I also have a yellow palette that I built with Colourpop because I never thought that they would release a yellow palette, and then they did, but I like the one I built better. So either way, my point is I do not have just these in my collection. So, but side note, this video is going to be so long, but here's the side note. I did see a while back, Too Much Tosh did this video where like she went through and categorized every single eyeshadow shade in her collection. Like, is it a warm brown? Is it a cool brown? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this kind of shimmer? Is it a champagne? Is it blah, whatever? That was so eye-opening, just like how many you might end up with that you don't think you've ended up with. And I'm kind of tempted to do it, but let me know if you'd want to see that, because that's going to be a lot of work and effort to like put that together, and I'm willing to do it, but I want to make sure that there would be like the audience for it. So that is it for this very long video. Thank you for making it through. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for allowing me that month break. That was unexpected. And I'm back, and I promise to be more consistent with uploads and be more consistent with, you know, these updates. And then that's the other thing. I am going to try my hardest. I don't have the best like camera. I don't have the best like phone to take pictures on, but I'm going to try my best to take pictures of some of my favorite looks that I do throughout the month. That way I can show them to you like at the end of the video in like a slideshow. So I will see you guys again for this kind of video August 1st-ish, right? So yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.